What up, y'all? Happy Monday. Hope everybody is well. I am. We had a crazy busy night at the restaurant. It was wild. Crazy little Monday, but it was good. Lots of fun. And I'm pretty excited because I have my birthday coming up Wednesday. And it's April 19th. It's on the Aries new moon, and there is a solar eclipse that day. And one of my tables tonight was a woman from Canada, and she is a tarot reader, and she said that she heard that the solar eclipse is supposed to be really positive for Aries. And I'm not sure how it's going to affect the signs overall, but I had been feeling that. Like, I had been feeling that if you feel currently like you've done a lot of work and to like overhaul your life and get all of the things out of the way that like really aren't supposed to be there anymore, and you have been diligently working towards something, then this eclipse season may bring things to a culmination, and you may actually receive some things or have like a jolt of growth or a spurt of progress. For instance, last year I had, during eclipse season, I had a growth spurt for the channel, and I ended up getting like 100 subscribers, and my videos were getting like several hundred views there for the duration of the eclipse season, and then it just went back to like my original like kind of views. So that was a little frustrating. So you guys helped me out by getting back in that algorithm by liking this video and commenting and subscribing to my channel and leave an emoji if you don't know what to say. It'll really help me grow and get our messages out there for other people that can benefit. But yeah, so it's been a really fun week. So if you still feel that there are things lingering in your life that you still feel a little attached to, or if they hadn't really found their natural sort of ending, you may find that things get a little shaken up this week. There may be catalytic events that play out that might move some parts and pieces in an unexpected way. So it might be a mixed bag. It's anybody's game. Eclipses can be a little bit chaotic. So be mindful. If you have already begun something, or you have had something in your consciousness that you've been nurturing, then by all means, like, continue on. But if for some reason this week you're just like, oh, I have a brand new idea, or you like meet someone the day of the eclipse or whatever, or you are, somebody comes out of nowhere with an idea and they're like, oh, here's a job offer or something. Take your time with that, because brand new things that present during eclipse season have a little bit of a seed level of chaos because of the raw energy coming out that we're taking in. So yeah, it's advised that you need to take your time and go slowly if you're beginning something new during eclipse season, or put it off until the eclipses are over, and they last like I think two months. So that kind of lines up anyway with the season of, there's a Kabbalistic window in time right now called the Omer. And this is a Hebrew period of observation. I don't know whether you'd call it a holiday, or it's like a, it's Hebrew centric. And I'm not sure if I'm guessing all the Jewish traditions observe the time of Omer. But it's about 40 days, I think it's exactly 40 days after Passover, where you are kind of challenged in different ways for the duration of those weeks. And so each week has a theme about how you might be being challenged. I know that last week the theme was being challenged to not be overly critical of the self or others. Kabbalah Center UK has been posting the week's theme on their Instagram page. I need to go look to see what this week's theme is, but I haven't seen it yet. But so, you know, each week over the next few weeks, you're going to have specific challenges throughout those weeks. So it is just kind of like, it's just one of those times of year. We're coming up on a Mercury retrograde soon. So be advised, take your time, let things unfold very slowly and naturally, and don't force anything. And if it's meant to be, then don't worry. There's no reason to feel like you're going to miss out, because if it's meant to be, then it will be for you anyway. And timing is also very important when we do things. And so if you choose even the right thing, but it's a bad time, then it can, you know, kind of go off sideways. So just a fair, friendly, gentle, cautionary warning there. And it ties right in today's reading. So great. We've covered a lot of ground already. Laid a lot of framework. So out of the wild unknown archetypes, we have pulled, and so this is our anchor message for the week, by the way, in case you're new or just joining. So Sunday nights I do the weekly energy forecast, and it gives us sort of a look at the energetic conditions of the week that we'll be under, sort of like a weather report. And on Mondays we do our anchor message, and that is kind of honing in on kind of the specific lessons that we're going to be faced with for the week. And so this week, our lessons are centered around the theme that we will talk about in tonight's video. So from the wild unknown archetypes, we usually pull like 3 cards for the week, but today they came out 2 pairs of 2. So the temple and the fault line came out together. And then the castle and the hunter came out together, actually. You can see those together. I love that the colors kind of all, they're all very similar. It's a uniform color palette. Okay, and then underneath these, we got 4 of Cups was under the temple and the fault line. Temperance was in the middle underneath the sets. And then 7 of Pentacles is underneath the castle and the hunter. So here's what I think is going on. I think that what we've been wanting to call in and manifest is right around the corner. It's like poised on the brink of like coming through. However, we are in eclipse season, and we're very much like in that Tower card energy where things can happen, events can happen to cause catalysts to move parts and pieces and things into place. So right now would be a good time for you to stay out of anything that could get your hands dirty in karma. Everything that's playing out right now, it could be playing out to be ultimately in your favor and work out for you in your highest good. But you need to be patient and not force anything or not do anything too early or too soon. When I looked at these cards initially this morning, and this will be in the blog that you can find on Instagram at Liz_Taylor_Magick. But this immediately reminded me of the story of Adam and Eve through the lens of Kabbalah. And the story of Adam and Eve, there's a lot more going on than just the basics that are covered in just the obvious text of Genesis. But Adam and Eve were representative of the divine masculine and feminine. And they were still in the upper worlds before the fall. And the upper worlds were it's like this dimension before you come into the material realm. And in that dimension, everything is one and unified, and it's in like you're in the ultimate state of fulfillment, because the ego, the personality self, the lower self, the smaller self, is in complete union with the higher self and source and the connection to all that is. And so there's no separation there. There's no fragmentation. However, when Adam and Eve, when the fall happened, the separation of the ego from the being part of the ultimate like source light, that nirvana state of consciousness, in a state of oneness and completion and fulfillment and wholeness. We fell from that and separated, so that now we have a super consciousness, we have our consciousness, and we have our subconscious, and we have our unconscious, right? So there's all these layers of ourselves with all these like veils in the way. So the fall of Adam and Eve happened when they ate of the fruit because of temptation. Well, the fruit was not actually an apple that suddenly made us know about the difference between good and evil. The fruit was actually a symbol that Adam and Eve actually had sex a little bit too early. Like, it was literally hours before they were kind of fully cooked in their maturity and their consciousness, before they could join together in the union of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And this was very powerful energies, so it sort of was more destructive than it was constructive, because ultimately they were always meant to have sex. It was just that they did it like a few hours before they were primed, and they would have been prepared, and the vessels would have been perfected in order to pull it off, because sex is very powerful and magical, and there's a lot more going on than we understand. And so, yeah, these ultimate, like, pure energies were combined, and it was too soon. And so we ended up having all of this rush of preoccupation between pleasure and pain and good and evil and temptation and repercussions and all of that, right? And so then, because of that, we had to come into a physical realm where there is time and space. And it's time and space that leave room for suffering, for fear, for lack, for doubt, for dissatisfaction, for impatience. And so we must be here in this material world and go through a process of perfecting and correcting our soul through a process of spiritual unfoldment and evolution of consciousness that happens over lifetimes. So this reading is a cautionary tale that there's something very great unfolding in our lives that just can't be rushed. And we're being warned to, like, stay steady, practice self-control. Don't make any sudden moves. Don't be reactive, because you don't want to spoil what is already meant to be yours. It's just that it's not ripe yet. And if you pick the grapes before they're ripe, they're gonna be bitter. So be patient. Don't get lost in focusing on sadness or getting downtrodden or discouraged or like thinking that things aren't gonna work out. You may have other people around you that are going through something difficult, and maybe they need you to hold that umbrella, or maybe people around you are trying to hold that umbrella over you. But either way, the Four of Cups talks about being sort of in an emotional funk and being kind of at risk of missing out on a really great opportunity. So I think that, like, energetically speaking right now, we're in a good frame of mind. We're in a good energetic frequency right now. And so we're being warned, like, don't slip into like kind of a mopey sadness or blasé or whatever. Don't be dissatisfied. Don't focus on anything right now that is displeasing. Instead, turn your attention to what is pleasing. Because, you know, we talk about this sometimes, that like we can even accidentally fall out of alignment with something that is in alignment with us simply because we're out of resonance with ourselves, because we're in a funk or salty or whatever. So just try to stay aware of your energy and your mindset, and just keep reminding yourself that it's all about patience at the moment and that things are really unfolding. Because like underneath all four of these in the middle, we have Temperance sitting here. And so it's like everything's coming together. We just need to have patience and be in a state of relaxed serenity. What I noticed about these three cards is that it's the feminine depicted here, kind of as the person, it's like their perspective. And so the feminine in this Four of Cups is kind of down, or like kind of like, you know, in a like not pouting, or maybe, I mean, sometimes when I get tired, I just get into a pouty state, right? But this looks kind of like discouraged, like almost throwing in the towel, like, oh, it's like, what is it all for? And it's never working out, whatever. And so then this feminine character looks sort of sullen because she's waiting for the fruit tree to blossom with fruit. It's like all of these flowers are blooming, and it's like she's gone ahead and like cut into this apple, but she doesn't look very happy about it. And so I think that, you know, the Seven of Pentacles is about having patience while your crop comes into fruition. And it's that process that you just can't rush. It's like you're just waiting on the timing. So it would behoove us to be really patient and be relaxed and wait in certainty. And so that's what I think Temperance is doing. Temperance is a card about different aspects coming together and integrating. And so, you know, we're being told, hey, like things are coming into place, but you just can't force it right now. So Temperance is sitting here in serenity. She has on a white thin veil of an outfit, and I think that this is the veil that is like really thin, where we are connected to source, and so we're becoming really grounded in that connection. The white is like the purity of her energy and the calmness and the peacefulness of her presence. She's also shrouded by this umbrella, which is red and passionate. And so let your passion for your why and your purpose fuel your discipline to keep yourself in check and not to wreck yourself, or to check yourself before you wreck yourself. Don't do anything crazy. Just chill for now. She's sitting there in serenity with her hands open. And so one dove is just sitting there content. The other hand is like open. The other one is free to come and go. It's like you're not grasping. You're not holding on to the situation. You're not holding on white-knuckled, trying to grasp onto control. You're not attached. You're just in complete certainty that no matter what's playing out through this transformation, because we've got these dragonflies there, no matter what is playing out, you're being protected and guided by spirit. The Holy Spirit is represented by the doves. Doves are also representing peace and I think pure love, actually. And so, yeah, I think that right now it's all about be patient while things are coming together. One of the lessons attached to the Temperance card is that we are able to be spiritual people as well as competent people in the physical world. Some of us are very transcendent, and so it's easier to be very spiritual and ethereal, but it's very hard to like be just a material person in the material world doing mundane tasks and like being good at those. And then some people are great at doing the material things and taking action and getting things done, but they're not as good at like having faith or being able to suspend their disbelief so that they can have magical experiences that kind of build their faith. So it's like Temperance is when we find out how to be balanced in both. And then how to integrate and embody what we're learning and use that and start using it as part of our spiritual transformation and our own spiritual alchemy to up-level in our self. And then I'm going to break these down a little bit. So I think that because everything is on shaky ground, this is the fault line. So the fault line is like this moment where there's all this pressure building, and any minute it's like an earthquake could happen, but I'm almost thinking of more like a champagne bottle with like, you've taken that wire cage off, but like everybody's left the bottle sitting and they didn't remember to like take the cork out. And so if you take the cage off of the cork on a champagne bottle, eventually the pressure of the carbonation will just push the cork out and it'll pop out like a projectile. And so I get the almost like an imagery of like champagne corks just like bursting out because there's so much pressure. But I think it's in a good way. I really do. I just think it's important that we stay true to all the work that we've been doing in our spiritual transformation. When things start going well, it's easy to sort of slip out of your spiritual practice because you're not desperate anymore. You don't need the help. So then it's really about, are you devoted? Are you sincere in your practice? Don't forget about Creator. Creator doesn't want to just be around for the problems. You can bring your spiritual team into the fun of your life too. But just be aware during this time that all of this stuff is about to go off anyway, so you don't have to do anything. You just sit back, keep your hands pretty, say your prayers. Talk to the Creator about what you want. If you're confused about what you want, talk to the Creator about how you are confused about what you want and you would like more clarity and you would like strength to be able to take the next action or what have you. And I would suggest praying out loud if you can. It makes everything so much more powerful. Our mouths are very powerful. They're a gateway of life and death. And so our speaking what we want is the same as God saying, let there be light, or, that initial Big Bang, that was the first event. It was a sound. It was, you know what I mean? So very powerful to verbalize your prayers, because it's also another example of how a manifestation starts as a spark of inspiration, which then fleshes out into an idea, which then fleshes out into something that can be visualized, which then fleshes out into something that can be spoken, right? So the speaking of the idea is the first physicality of it. So it's very powerful to say your prayers out loud. So definitely don't do anything that can cost you any karma in this situation. Many times before our manifestation comes through, we're kind of tested by the universe to see if we'll settle for less than what we really want, or if we will, backslide on, the progress we've been making in our personal development. If, we will kind of have a short circuit and like go off in a very reactive fashion. So, and reactivity can be in a good way as well as in a bad way. Like an example of being reactive, but like with a positive twist would be like, say you saw an infomercial and they're like, buy now and you can get this and this and this. Well, reacting out of a sense of urgency because you're afraid you're going to miss out is one of those times where you're being reactive, but because of like excitement or temptation or impulse. So you're wanting to taper those so that you're mindful about the actions that you're taking. And after you examine what was impulsive, maybe you decide to go that route anyway, but you want to be doing it with your free will and by choice, by conscious choice, where you really own the decision instead of just doing something haphazardly because you're wanting to get something settled and you're not comfortable with things just being a little bit uncomfortable for a minute. Okay, so very precarious. Things can be changing. They can be changing very quickly and unexpectedly. So just say your prayers about what you want, guidance and strength to get through it without doing any no-nos or short-circuiting. And then just as the hunter and the castle are here, I think that these are kind of like two characters or two influences. Like it could be like a job in you, or, you know, different groups of whatever, like different situations in your life. But I feel like all of this connects, but it's also, they're their own categories. But the castle made me think of, and like a lot of these cards have come out recently, especially the castle. The castle was coming up recently to remind us of our goals and our manifestations and the things that we've been wanting to create and call in, and the kind of life that we want to create for ourselves now. And so we do want to keep focused on that, and we don't want to lose our focus. Like the hunter is all about going after what we want and earning our bread, and, you know, being competitive when need be, or being able to like keep up in the demands of the times. But it's about having that that grit and that determination and that self-starter, you know, initiative. But yeah, it's about going after what you want and being the hunter. So in the midst of all this, stay focused on what it is that you really want. But at the same time, don't let your like blind drive to get this material dream get in the way of your like spiritual values or goals also. Like don't do whatever it takes to get there, no matter what the cost. Like you can like take your time. Things will unfold in a positive way. So also the castle can be a bit isolating if you get too, like you can use it as a defense mechanism to keep people distant or keep people out. So don't build up the walls too thick. But overall, I feel like something is coming into fruition. Things are playing out. Our dreams are beginning to, the little seedlings are pushing through the edge of the soil. And now it's just about staying focused and disciplined and consistent and hopeful. It's important that we keep our optimism stoked. And that I remember one of the portions from A Course in Miracles, I can't remember exactly what it said, but it had something to the effect of those who wait in faith can afford to wait patiently or in peace. So have faith, have certainty that your best interests are in the Creator's plan, your ultimate fulfillment, your ultimate happiness. And things are beginning to shift and change. Opportunities may present. So just trust that whatever's happening and unfolding this week is ultimately for the highest good. It's eclipse season. You never know how it's going to all play out, and sometimes it's a bit jolting. So good luck out there. Godspeed. Be careful. Don't do anything reckless this week. You know, make sure that you're all squared away. You know, don't be driving with your tags expired or anything like that. But just watch your back. Try to do your best. Try to keep positive, and if you don't see any results right away, it's okay. The energy is like the seeds are being planted now. So just don't lose hope, don't lose patience, don't lose your mind. All right, y'all be good, but not too good. Ciao.